Yo, it's your boy Dctree, and this is Dctree-Nation, the channel on YouTube that covers hoops and heroes. And today we're talking hoops. We're talking Dejounte Murray, y'all, and what he has in common with these NBA greats, man. And I gotta tell you, man, I was just on the internet checking some things out, and I was surprised at what the stats were telling me. It had me looking like Tony Stark.
How about that?
Because don't get me wrong, I knew that DJ was having a year. You know, a really good year for himself, but I didn't necessarily know that his stats were up there with some of the greats, man. His stats, once you make these comparisons that I don't go over in this video, are on fire, man. They're on fire more than Loki was that time. They're on fire like my boy Tanjiro off of Demon Slayer. Dejounte Murray's stats are on fire more than the Batmobile. I get what I'm trying to say, man. Our boy is hot. He's on fire. But before I jump too deep into it, if you like my content, please sub to the channel, hit that like button, and don't forget to hit that bell for more videos. Thank you so much for the continued support. Okay, just like I said earlier in the video, Dejounte Murray has been having a year, okay? He has become the stat stuffer of all stat stuffers. You get what I'm saying? He gets you your points, he gets you your rebounds, he gets you your assists, he shoots a solid percentage, and he gets you a couple steals per game. And that has brought him a lot of praise this year. Obviously, he was an all-star. Obviously, he's well respected by his peers. But some fans have been critical of him and even calling him a stat patter, which is probably the worst thing you can call a player like DJ. And that, if you're a fan of the channel, you know is one of my pet peeves about our fan base. You know, the small percentage of people that are saying that, because if you know anything about the San Antonio Spurs, especially this season, you know, rotations, limited minutes, days off, rest in between. It's really hard to stat pad when you're on that type of system. We're not blowing teams out. We're not blowing teams away. We don't have DJ out there when he's not needed. Also, we've lost a ton of close games. Usually the games are close and we fold in the fourth quarter. That has been one of our issues. I made a video about that. I have that linked above about our crunch time problems. So when you factor all that in, the fact that he's considered a stat padder by some people is ridiculous, okay? Now, with that said, you know, he does have the stats that are comparable to some of the greats in our game. And I totally understand that, you know, today's NBA is a little different from the 90s and the 2000s. It's easier to get rebounds, for instance, you know, those type of things. But despite that, this is still something still deserve to be celebrated. And his triple doubles, Murray's triple doubles, and his, you know, pedigree, you know, being amongst the greats needs to be, you know, celebrated. Okay, the first comparison that caught my eye on the internet was that Russell Westbrook, Luka, and our boy Dejounte Murray are the only three guards to have 20+ games with double-digit rebounds, man. That is a huge deal. And again, in today's league, it is easier to get rebounds because the game is a little bit smaller, the rebounds are a little bit longer. But despite that, that is still something to be celebrated, because whether you like Westbrook or not, he's a former MVP. Whether you like Luka or not, he's a superstar for the Mavs. You know, they're building around him. So for DJ to just be mentioned in the same breath of these guys is a testament of his work ethic. Because, you know, a couple years ago, you know, I would say, hey, DJ is our best guard, and people would slam me for it, okay? But not so much. That's not the case today. So I'm not saying he's on the same level as a Westbrook or a Luka as far as longevity and all-star appearances and obviously MVP awards that Westbrook got, but it is a testament of his hard work and a sign that he's going in the right direction, and a sign that he's a positive influence on our squad and on our team, and he deserves to be appreciated. This next comparison threw me for a loop. I did not expect this comparison. Murray at his current pace, if he can end the season at his current pace, will be one of 3 players in NBA history that averaged 20 points, 20 plus points, 8 plus rebounds, 8 plus assists, and 2 plus steals in the season. The only two people to do it are the great and legendary Magic Johnson and Michael Jeffrey Jordan. Listen, y'all, that's big time, man. That's big time. Any way you slice it, it doesn't matter the era, it doesn't matter, you know how the game was played. None of that matters when it comes to that comparison. Now, obviously, he's not on the level of Jordan and Magic. Probably would never be on that level. You know, I don't like to say never. I never say never. But if we're being realistic, he's not going to be Michael Jordan or Magic Johnson. But to be compared to these guys, again, is a testament of his work ethic and his effect on the game, his positive effect on the game, man. The fact that he is leading the league in steals, okay, you know, by the numbers, by the single steals number, and by the averages, he's doing it. Okay, so that's a big deal for Dejounte to be able to maintain that pace, work both sides of the ball, get the steals, get the rebounds, you know, battle in the paint. And he's not getting like long rebounds, y'all. He's in there, you know, rubbing shoulders with the big men, snatching up rebounds, okay? And that's hard to do game in and game out. So for him to consistently average 8 or 9 rebounds and then get his teammates involved at the same time, you know, on par with a Magic and a Mike. That is crazy, man. That is crazy. And I say on par from a statistical standpoint. Obviously, Magic would clean his clock when it comes to passing the basketball. But hopefully you get what I'm trying to say here, man. The fact that this is even a possibility, again, not to sound like a broken record, coming off the last couple years where, you know, he was really a scapegoat for the San Antonio Spurs, secondary to Derek White, who had a better and bigger fan base. You know, this is crazy. This is wild, man. And I'm happy to see these type of things because men lie, women lie, the numbers don't. So at the end of the day, I just want to say again, I'm not saying that Murray is on par, pound for pound, with these players, Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, Luka, Russell Westbrook, as in terms of what he's done, the longevity of his game. I understand he's having a hell of a tough year this year, and the last couple years haven't been golden. But we can't put our blinders on and become homers and just outright say, hey, Murray is better than Westbrook, until Murray gets a few more years under his belt, a few more, you know, all-star appearances or whatnot. So again, I'm not saying Murray is on par with these guys. All I'm saying is that if you're trying to gauge Murray's usefulness for this team, if you're trying to gauge Murray's growth for this team, if you're trying to grade Murray overall right now, that grade has to be pretty darn good, man, because the numbers always help us kind of wash away our biases. You know, and I've been biased before on this channel. Obviously, we all have a little bias in us. But man, sometimes the numbers scream something that you can't deny. You know, and you know, the most impressive stat to me that Murray has had this season, probably outside of the scoring, the fact that he's a 20-point scorer, that's huge, is the steals, man. It's the steals, okay? Being the steal leader in the league, being, you know, averaging over 2 steals, to me that's huge, man. That's taking his game to the next level, taking his defensive prowess to the next level, and that just opens doors for what the Spurs can do in the draft and whatnot. You know, team him up with another defensive guard, or you know, opens up things individually for Murray. You know, he can get all first NBA defensive team. You know, he can get most improved player. You know, this has been a hell of a year for him. So I just love seeing these stats and these numbers just reiterate what we already know, or what we should know and should acknowledge. These numbers are glaring. They're on fire, like I said in the intro. So you gotta love it. Alright guys, that's it for this one. Check out the other videos on the channel. Thank you for kicking it with me, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.